Well, I am ninja, he is ninja, she is ninja too. I am ninja, we are ninja, and I believe that you are ninja too. Welcome to another video from Cardboard East. My name is Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. Today, we're going to talk about Gachijo Four Ninjas and the Castle of Treasure. Gachijo is developed and published by Banana Moon Studio Sapporo from Japan, and it's on Kickstarter today. In this video, I'm going to give you an unboxing so you can see the components, give you a brief overview of how to play the game, and then leave you with my general thoughts and impressions. Woo! Now, before we dive into what I think about the game, I definitely want to mention that what you see here is not the deluxe edition that'll be on Kickstarter. This is the original printing, so what you see is not exactly what you'll get. And welcome to Gachijo Four Ninja and the Castle of Treasures. Now, before I say anything else, remember that this is not the final version of it. The Kickstarter is for the deluxe version, so what you see here may or may not be what's in the Kickstarter. But without further ado, let's take a crack look inside. You can see on the back of the box here, it shows you some of the cool mechanics within the game that not only can your pieces move, but the board itself underneath can move. Here you see a picture of the setup, all the ninjas, the monsters, demons, all your tools and equipment, and your flags. This is a rather thin box, I might add, and it's quite long, so that way it can accommodate the transparent sheets inside. So let's take a look. This is some paperwork here. I've used this to sandwich the transparent paper. And even though I've taken it off, there used to be a tiny film that was on top. I didn't notice it at first, but then once I took it off, it was much better, because before it was a little cloudy and it was kind of hard to read, but now it's super, super clear. And then here you see the blue and the red transparency paper, and this is why the box has to be so long, because it has to fit inside the box here. Here's another sheet of paper that's very reminiscent of like the 80s style of gaming, where you have just all the pieces are here on this little sheet of paper. Pretty cool, and everything kind of connects to a QR code. Here are your bags for your tokens, and this is the base of the board. This is where like all your ninjas will be starting, and this is the base. That's where you could see where all the action will be taking place, and there's quite a few in here. They go from like A to I, so there's quite a few, and they go up in difficulty. So you see one that's just the ground floors. Here's one with water and rooftops. And then here's like a bigger rooftop, so it's a little bit more difficult to traverse inside. And they get more and more complicated. This one has just a ton of water here. Lots of indoor spaces here. So they get more intricate and more detailed, and they get quite difficult to traverse through. Much more difficult than you would anticipate. In addition to that, now you have like all this comes with the game that I've seen. These are your little quick reference guides for each player, so you can remember like what each tool and weapon does and how to use it, as well as what tools are used for and when or when you cannot use them. Here's the board that you'll place your treasures on, as so right here, and the corners are for where the demons are being summoned. These are your mission cards. There are 4 of them in the game, and you'll combine this with the 8 or so maps that are also in the game. So, and they get more and more complicated as you go. You'll see that you'll have to collect more and more before you can make it home. And they have like this cute little back here for, I don't know, just nice art style. These are your player boards, or your acquisition boards, as the game calls them. There's nothing on the back, and they're just in the player colors. Here are the cards in the game, which are a very unique shape. I haven't seen many games with this. So you have your summoned guardians, where you have like the different demons that you might summon throughout the course of the game. And you have the gacha cards, which do all sorts of random things here. And then I just kind of dumped the tokens here because that's the only way it fit. I thought I could fit them here, but it wasn't always consistent. These are the little tokens you get when you injure another ninja or you summon demon successfully. I'll place these here. Here are the cute little frog tokens that you get when you've been injured. And they can be worth anywhere from like 1 to 15 points. And the flags here. Here's the one for Takeda, the tiger. You can see here all the tool tokens I've placed here. So there's your grappling hook. There's your protection. There's your disguise to hide you in there. And they all have a back to it, so that way no one knows what tools you have. These are like those standard crystals that you see in like a lot of games that have crystals. Here are your weapon tokens. So there are your shuriken, I believe your claws, smoke bombs, and the katana. And these, again, are all double-sided, so no one knows which weapons you have. Naturally, you'll take these and then dump them into the red bag. You can't leave these in here because it won't fit and close nicely. And here are the stars of the show, the ninjas. And here are their little ponchos, so that way you can kind of, I mean, they're called markers, but really they're ponchos that fit over your ninja like so. So that way everyone knows which tool they'll be using. And that is the inside of the box. And now let's go to how you set up the game. Step 1, assemble the board. Place your board onto the table and choose which one of the maps you're going to use. Let's try F, map F, and then you're going to slide it here. Then you're going to slide the red transparency on top, and then you'll slide the blue transparency on top. And then you'll play the final game transparency on top. And then there you have your moving map. Take all your weapon tokens and toss them in the bag. Take all your tool tokens and toss them in the bag. And as the rulebook says, all the common items in the game should be placed where they do not interfere with play. Short and sweet. I love it. That includes the tool tokens, the weapon tokens, the mission cards, the treasure den, the treasure tokens, the Game of Thrones pieces or the Guardians of Treasure pieces, summon cards, gotcha cards, crystal pieces, and your shinobi summon chips, your kairu chips or your frog chips, which can range anywhere from 0 to 15. Next, you're going to give each player their own player board, their matching ninja. Ha! You're going to give them their flag, one injury marker, their matching tool markers. There should be 4 of them. You're also going to get a random tool from the bag. Place it here. You're going to get a random weapon from the bag. Place it here. And there's a quick reference guide. Place it off to the side. And with that, you're ready to go. Now that we've all set up, let's take a closer look at the board. Here in the corners, you can see each of the 4 players have their own assigned starting base. And that's going to be important because as the ninjas travel throughout the area, they'll eventually have to run back to their own base. Looking closer, we can see the different types of terrain. We have ground and floor, which are on the same level. You have water, which is on that lower level. And then up here, up top, are the roof squares that you'll be moving on. This little outdoor rim here, you can never traverse on it. That's just to have a border for the map. Looking more closely, you can see that you have some solid lines and some dotted lines. Well, these are high walls and these are low walls. And you'll also notice that they come in red and in blue. And the main mechanic of this game is that you can not only move your characters on the map, but you can also move the map itself. Here we are moving the red walls, and here we are moving the blue walls. On your turn, you'll take 3 counted actions and any number of free actions that you want. We'll go over the free actions later. But first, the 3 counted actions are always going to be the same. They are going to be, you have to move the red walls, you have to move the blue walls, and you'll have to move your ninja. So if this Oda Nobunaga ninja needed to get to these tools, well, they would simply have to move the map accordingly. So maybe they'll move the blue map, and then they still can't reach it, so now they'll move the red map, and then here we go. And then I can move any distance along an open path. So this little ninja here will go and collect the tools, and they'll get a tool from the tool bag. In addition to walls, there's also some extra movement restrictions. So if you want to go from land to water, well, then you will need to use this bamboo token or the take token. You'll use this token, put it back to the bag, and then you'll attach this poncho to your ninja. So that way he'll be equipped with the pipe, and then they'll be able to move throughout the underwater. Now you may have noticed that I crossed this low wall here, and that's because while traversing through water, you can cross as many low walls as you want. So if I needed this crystal, all I'd have to do is use that token, put on my take, and then swim all the way here to gain that crystal. Similarly, if you wanted to have your ninja go from the ground to the roof, well, you need to use this special ladder token. You'll take this token, put it back into the bag, and then you will take your ladder poncho and place it onto your ninja, as so. And then they'll be able to move up into the rooftop. And just like the water, they'll be able to cross low walls, but they can't cross high walls. So you see this ninja will be able to cross over these two low walls here and then wind up here. And naturally, if someone is standing there, be it person or a demon, well then you cannot cross them. There are natural obstacles and you'll have to move around. So perhaps now would be a good chance to run away and then place walls in their way so that they won't be able to attack you. Now, in addition to your 3 actions, I mentioned before that you have a lot of free actions, and those can include many different things, such as when you move your ninja, you can automatically pick up tools and weapons, but if you want to get a treasure, well then you have to stop on that treasure to pick it up. Other free actions will include using any of the tools that you have gotten throughout the adventure, as well as using your weapons to attack any of your opponents. The claws you can see here attack in these areas here. The katana can attack your corners. Shuriken can attack over low walls but not high walls. And the smoke bomb allows you to avoid an attack and just disappear and reappear somewhere else. Very handy. But without a doubt, the coolest free action in the game is that after moving the walls, if you can get the yin-yangs to appear in the center summon circle, and that's always not in the center of the board, but if you could appear there, you could spend a crystal, and then you could summon one of the 4 beasts or guardians of the treasure. And they all look pretty rad. This one with the wings is probably my favorite because this woman is literally this stuff of nightmares. Now, eventually, your player board will look something like this. You'll have some weapons, you'll have some tools, you'll have some of the treasures, you'll picked up some crystals. People will have attacked you and you would have gotten these green frog tokens. You would have successfully attacked other people and getting these ninja tokens. You will have successfully summoned a demon and then have them successfully attack one of your opponents. And you'll look at your mission card and realize, okay, I have 3 treasure tokens, I have this, I have that, I have that. I'm ready to go back to the base. You're gonna take your flag and then place it face up, signaling that you are ready to return to base and letting everyone know that they should come and attack you to prevent you from winning the game. Now, once a ninja who has their flag raised is able to make it back to their base, well then that triggers the end of the game, but they don't necessarily win. Instead of the victory going to the player whoever went out first, they'll have received 30 points, and then each player is going to score points according to whatever's on their playmat. So all the green tokens will be flipped over. They can score anything from 0 to 15 points. The weapons are 2 points each. Tools, 2 points each. Crystals are 5. Shinobi and summon tokens are 10, and each treasure token is 20. And then the player with the highest score wins the game. The 3 gripes I had about the components were that, one, first and foremost, is that Toyotomi's crest was upside down. I don't know what was going on there. It was just hastily made, but it just kept bothering me. Number 2, while I understand that the plastic transparent sheets had to force the box to be longer and very oddly shaped, I just would have preferred the box to have been a little taller. So that way there's a little bit more forgiveness with the components inside the box. But actually, the biggest concern that I have is that I love the transparent sheets. I think they're very, very cool, but there's no protection for them inside the box. If you remember LP records, if you're old and from the 1900s like me, cool is the word I should use. But LPs have like this thin paper that you slide them in before you before you slip them into the cardboard sleeve. And I think these transparent sheets really, really need that because unlike a regular board game, if you bend your board, okay, it's not aesthetically pleasing, but you can still play the game. With Gachijo, if your transparent sheets get bent, that's the game. You can't play it anymore. Theme. Now there was a video that was posted by the designer who was talking about the original design of the game, and the original design was like mice in a maze trap. And while that is kind of cute and cool, I think ninjas going through this weird magical castle is by far cooler. And I really want to commend Banana Moon for really leaning more into the theme than to the mechanic. And it's a really interesting choice that everything in the game serves the theme and it doesn't serve the mechanic, even though the mechanic itself is so cool and is easily by far the biggest eye-catching thing about the game. And while the map itself is quite small, the transparent sheets creating walls here and there and having the walls move makes it a very, very tight space. And I love this theme of that you're kind of living off the land. You go into this castle with just like one tool and one weapon, and you have to pick up tools and more weapons as you're there, and you're fighting off the other ninjas and other demons that just randomly appear out of nowhere. I mean, I say nowhere, but you can see them coming on the board, and you can see your opponents on the board. And I gotta say, it's absolutely terrifying because you never know when one of your opponents is just gonna slide that summoning circle together and then just move one of the beasts. So sometimes when you land very, very close to one of the guardians of treasure, and it's funny because in the rulebook it says GOT, and I'm always thinking Game of Thrones demon. Anyway, once you're next to one of the demons, it's absolutely terrifying because any of your opponents could just helpfully make that demon move and then you're done. I mean, you're not done, you lose a turn and it's quite painful, but I just love that extra little tension that's there. And those transparent sheets create these really exciting moments and of frustration and exhilaration. Sometimes it's quite frustrating because you just want to go 3 or 4 blocks, but it takes sometimes like maybe 2 or 3 turns if you don't have the right gear. Other times, when you're able to get those transparent sheets just right, it's so exhilarating to just fly across the board, pick up some random stuff, pick a weapon, and just whack one of your opponents and steal one of their treasures. Gratifying. So gratifying. Another cool thing about the gameplay and game arc of the game is that like that first act, you are running to pick up things, picking up gear, trying to pick up treasures where you can. And that middle second act is when it gets really exciting because everyone's slowly accruing more treasures. People are attacking each other. You are summoning demons to attack your opponents. But then that third act, when someone has everything they need and they raise their flag, it just suddenly becomes a free-for-all where everyone just zeroes in on that one player and does everything they can to prevent them from getting to the base. And making that run from having everything and lifting your flag to running all the way to your base is exhilarating because anything and everyone can just come out of nowhere. Like these ninjas could appear right in front of you. The demon can be suddenly moved right next to you and attack you. It's just wild of what can happen in this game. Now I know some of the people that I played this with had a little bit of mixed feelings with the attacking each other because it feels kind of take that, but it fits so well in the theme that almost everyone didn't really mind. And attacking your opponents to steal treasure is great because you get to steal treasure, but then they get a frog token, and that frog token can range from 0 to 15, so you just gave them 15 points. And you never really want to dogpile on one character because then they'll be accruing more and more frog tokens and it's dangerous. They could just suddenly get like 30, 40 points just from those frog tokens alone. Replayability, the replayability of the game is almost limitless. You think that those maps wouldn't make that much of a difference, but oh my goodness, they make so much. That first map where it's just the ground floor is pretty easy to navigate through. But once you add the levels of the roofs and underwater, it creates this whole other level of the game where someone can just run into water and then you can't reach them because you don't have the proper gear. Someone can jump onto the roof and then you can't reach them because you don't have the proper gear. It just adds this extra level to the game play that just makes it a lot crunchier. And although be it a little fiddly, like games from the aughts or the 90s, but I think that's part of Gachijo's charm. I'm thinking about the game in this regard, about how nostalgic it feels. It kind of makes the game even more approachable because it's actually quite simple. You're just move the red, move the blue, move your ninja. Or red, ninja, blue, blue, red, ninja, any way you want to do it with a few actions here and there. And it makes the game move at a quick clip pretty quickly. And you're able to follow where everyone's going and try to traverse a way to where you're kind of close, but not too close to your opponents so you can grab things. And you have these little tense moments of thinking to yourself, well, I need that treasure. That treasure is right next to them. Do I go and maybe they attack me? Or do I go for another treasure that's all the way on the other side of the board and then try to work my way back? And I really like those little micro decisions in the gameplay. Something about Gachijo really reminded me of like 80s and 90s games like Hero Quest, where the actual gameplay is really simple and all the mechanics just add to that extra level of theme. And it just makes the whole experience really, really fun. Like I really felt that I was a ninja running around some magical labyrinth of a castle trying to find as much treasure and weapons as I can, not knowing when ninjas could just suddenly pop out or demons could pop out. A really rad experience. I have a lot of adjectives, but rad is just the one I'm sticking with today. Now, because of this sporadic actions that can happen throughout the course of the game, it definitely feels more tactical than strategic. I mean, obviously, the strategy is I'm going to grab all those things that I need and then make a dash to get out of the castle. But you have to kind of play it by ear with depending on where your opponents are, where those treasures are, where those weapons are, and making sure that you're well armed when you meet your opponents and making sure you have those treasures so that way you could, win the game. But make no mistake that while it feels like this approachable family game, it actually is a game for gamers. Because even though if you make it out first, you may not actually win. And it's happened quite a few times when we played the game that the person who went out didn't win the game because someone else had collected so many more treasures, they had way too many frog tokens, and you could just win the game through those points that way. And sometimes when someone's running out the castle, they're not going to chase after that person. They're going to collect more treasures while they can, so that way they could, be closer to the end of the game and rack up those points. So I like that you can have like these different, strategies in the gameplay of accruing points or just trying to go for the end game goal. Adding to that replayability that you have like these 4 mission cards of going easy to difficult, and you also have 8 maps to explore. I didn't play all those maps, but I played the easy one, and I definitely played the last one, which is map I. So map A and I, you could definitely feel the difference there from how simple and approachable it was to how complex and crazy fun it was. But people always ask me, Jay, what makes a good game? And the answer is simple, is memories. Not fun, memories. Because at the end of the day, when you look at your bookshelf, you don't see games, or at least I don't. I see memories. I look at a game and I think about that one time where I played it with a friend. Oh no, Mario! I look at these games and I remember the time I played it with a friend of mine and those fun memories that I had. And sometimes you have like these great exhilarating memories of just epic awesomeness of why we game. And every time you play the game again, you're trying to recapture those moments. So they are boxes of games, but they're really boxes of memories. And Gachijo does an excellent job of creating those memories that will really last a lifetime. I do want to say that it is a shame of the cardboard cutouts, and I really hope that for the deluxe edition, they have some sleeves to protect the transparent sheets. They have a wider box, so that way the components can jiggle around a little bit more and it's easier to store. And more importantly, that there are more maps, and those player tokens and the demons are nice acrylic standees. Minis would be lovely and great, but I think standees would work even better here. Like these nice acrylic standees where you can really see the artwork. That would just be rad. Once again, my name's Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. I'm gonna put a link up here to a video that I think you may enjoy. If this is your first time here at Cover East, stick around, cruise around the channel and see some of the videos. I have a lot of top 10 lists, top 100 lists. I actually went to Japan and filmed at a different location for the top 30 games of Japan. Definitely check those out, and I will see you there.